Okay, finally, would help if I push the right button. Howdy, y'all. Thank you for being here. I was busy doing some upgrades here, a little changes, few changes around here. Uh, doing what I can, Wingspan Angel, and I know you do. All you can. So anyway, I have a few things I'd like to discuss with y'all tonight. Gonna wait for a few more people coming in. Mhm. I'm surprised to see you. Hi, Granny. It's good to see you. Yeah. Uh, I hope you enjoyed lunch today. I know I did. Anyway, there are a few things I'd like to discuss, like the title says here. We've been deceived. We've been deceived from the very beginning. From the day we're born, they feed us misconceptions of what life really should be about. And I hope you don't. So back in 19, I'll give you an example. Back in the early 30s, early 1930s, Henry Ford was already building cars. He decided to try a new material instead of the steel he was using to build his cars. He used hemp, polymerized hemp, which turned out to be tougher than the steel. But the steel industry more or less put an end to that. See what I'm saying? There are things in our world that are always being taken away from us, always being hidden from us. How about the light bulb that's been lit for more than 100 years? Um, Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison together invented the light bulb, but not everybody knows that part of history. But they used a much heavier filament. And the heavier filament made it last longer, which meant that that bulb would last a whole lot longer than it does today. It's called, they call it engineered obsolescence. They can't make any money if you're not buying more light bulbs. You make one and you make a dozen of them, and that's it. Everybody's got a light bulb that works and it's going to last forever. You're not going to make any more money because you're not making any more light bulbs. Just these are just examples of how we've been lied to over the years. Um, in the 1930s, they also had a cure for cancer. One man in particular found the cure with frequency, a light and sound frequency generator. Don't know. Anyway, the point is, he was disgraced, forced out of the industry, all of his information, everything he'd ever done, buried and hidden by Big Pharma. It's there. I've experienced it myself. I see it every day as a veteran, a disabled veteran who gets my health care through the VA healthcare system, and I have for years. Um, I see, I, I see that we're all how do you. I'm one of those kind of people when I get sick or something happens in my life, I do the research myself. I don't trust anybody else's. It's not that I don't trust them. I I want to know for myself exactly what's going on. I've already studied off and on most of my life medicine anyway, but I do the research. And a conversation with my one of my oncologists about 2 years ago. I told him about this, and oh no, that's just the rumor. There's no such thing. Um, there is such a thing. I just can't prove it yet. These are the stories I want to bring to my news channel when I get to it. I've had some real big issues the last couple of weeks. Anyway, uh, only got a couple people here tonight. I don't know if I told anybody here. I think Granny knows this, but I had my 1 year checkup, my follow up from having cancer last year. I am still cancer free. Just so y'all want to just if anybody's listening. Anyway, I guess the point I'm making is there are. I'm going to try and share this with you. Hey, Juggalassus, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you too. Anyway, I'm going to try and share this with you if I can. Uh, no, there we go. Share screen. Uh, this is a channel that I watch on a regular basis. I'm not going to hold it here for very long, but as you can see, it covers all these stories I've already had here. Nylon, a pair of women's stockings, used to last for a very long time. They had to engineer obsolescence into those stockings so they and they wonder why we have so many plastics in our system. We could have done things a whole lot differently. But these different discoveries, these different industries, these different industries just they've been buried. These things that could have saved us so much. Just as an example, I did an experiment a couple of months ago with my heat. Okay, do I heat with electric or do I heat with propane? I mean, I live in a motorhome. We all know I live in an RV, right? So let's see which one's cheaper. In 30 days on electricity, it costs the same amount of 30 days on propane. So I'm not able to save any money anywhere, and they want to get that pound of flesh from you. You see what I'm saying? There are uh, uh, there are ways of building things that would be like a house. Um, I'll use an example. This guy used he uh, took a big plastic bag and made a big balloon out of it, covered it with foam mixed with concrete. Yeah, I don't do kerosene. I'm not gonna no, I'm not gonna do anything crazy like that. Um, it's easy to do. It is easy to do. You got to be careful. Now, I make sure my equipment is up to snuff and it's not going to do anything crazy like that. Anyway, oh, excuse me. The point I'm making is you could you could take foam and mix it with styrofoam frills, like you make a styrofoam cup out of. Mix it with concrete, spread it over this balloon that you built made with these big bags. Build a house that way, and there's only a few places in this country that'll even allow you to do something like that because it's not you're not buying their building materials that they have to ship in. They have to cut down, saw in the boards that are such and such sizes, such and such strengths, and so many nails, and they don't want you to have a cheaply built home. You can build cheaply and still be just as strong as the hounds that they want you to live in. They, I have friends that live in Oklahoma. I had a sister that lived in Oklahoma too. It's big, thick house that you've got to follow building codes because you're in Tornado Alley and you have to have a, a storm cellar you can run to. The point I'm making is there are safer ways of doing things. You can build things for yourself, but our government won't allow us to do. This is what I mean. We've been deceived from the very beginning. I mean, if Ford, the, just the panels that Ford put on that Model A that weren't made of steel, you, you could beat him with a hand. They, they show him out there beating it with a sledgehammer and it not being hurt. And I agree, it is greed. That's why we have light bulbs that only last maybe 2 to 3 months. And then you gotta go buy some more. That's why you ladies who wear nylons or stockings or some such thing, they only last for so long. And it's real easy to tear them or get a run in them. You got to take them, throw them away, and go get another pair if you wear those. I'm just as an example. They don't. It's engineered obsolescence. The products that we buy that they're constantly selling us, constantly. Oh, you've got to have this and you've got to have that to be a part of what would you call a contributing part of society. You got to buy what everybody else buys. Exactly, exactly. I'm in Arizona. I would love to do that. I'm working on doing just that. But you're right. Greed, power. Um, the reason Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison went their own way was because of greed. Edison was trying to take all the credit for that light bulb. So Tesla went to somebody like General Electric and built the first hydroelectric dam at Niagara Falls. He's the reason that Nikola Tesla is the reason we have AC power instead of DC like Edison wanted to use. We use both. We use DC and AC. DC for our cars, 6 and 12, 6, 12, 24 volt around the world. It just depends on where you are in the world. Um, the point is, um, we have to be aware that this is the world we live in. And the more you separate yourself from it, the more the system tries to draw you back into it. Oh yeah, he wanted to give it all away. Yugoslavia, his home country, has free power because he gave it to them. That's my point. I can trace those same threads that you are here. I, I can trace the same ones. Um, the point I'm making is, I guess I'm preaching to the choir here, but we, we, they're constantly telling us this is the way it should be. And we're looking at history repeating itself from almost 100 years ago all over again. We're seeing the brown shirts, and we're seeing the secret police, and we're seeing people disappear because of an idea. Um, Nikola Tesla died flat broke. All of his notes, everything he had, disappeared. Thank you, Wingspan. Um, I hadn't even thought of that. See, these are the stories I'm working on. I'm trying to put. I'm making a few changes to my equipment. That's part of the reason why I haven't turned my camera on. There we are. I've been working on trying to get things. I have. I've been doing upgrades here. As soon as I get through with all of my upgrades here, the production, the video production, the quality, everything else will change. It's all a part of growing. I'm starting from scratch. It's usually where I start from anyway. I don't just. I'm all in. I haven't got much. Every time I grow, I want you all to know I'm happy to have you here to grow with me. It's what I'm doing. It's where I'm going. I want to share these stories with you because I've experienced these things in the past personally. I know that these things. I mean, um, all those tall ships back in the 1800s, just before the Civil War and just a little after, all those tall ships, all that rope was made from hemp. That's the material Ford used to make those side panels for his cars. For some reason, he had to go back to steel because the steel company he'd already signed a contract with the steel company, so they forced him into buying more steel. He couldn't do it a cheaper way with hemp. Our Declaration of Independence, all of our country's documents, like our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the original copies. Excuse me, I had some dinner. Anyway, it's all written on parchment paper. Hey, Joko, good to see you. Anyway, it's all written on parchment. Now, that parchment is made from hemp. There are people making buildings out of hemp. They're making bricks out of hemp, mixing it with concrete. There are so many other ways that we can heat our homes safely. There are other ways we can, well, like, there was a guy who invented, oh, what would you call it? It, he extracted hydrogen from water. He found there's a way to extract hydrogen from water electrically. And he would burn the hydrogen to run a motor that moved a car. This was back in the 1950s and 60s. The guy disappeared. Everything he made gone. No proving any of it. There are so many different technologies that are being kept away from us because it would change our whole world. It would change everything about our religion. I mean, if how many people have had an opportunity to examine the Dead Sea Scrolls? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Um, but I intend to be able to dig. I was amazed when I run across these things in my lifetime, and I'm going, how come nobody else knows this? Because they're not meant to know it. History's written by the victors. They hide these things from all of us. Why? We knew we could find a better way, a less expensive way, one that lasts a whole lot longer. Like there's a light bulb somewhere in California that's been lit for over 100 years with one of Edison's original bulbs. Thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate the conversation. For those of you who are new here, thank you for being here. I haven't seen a few of you before. I'm glad to see you here tonight. It's just a little food for thought. Um, there's a channel on YouTube, and I'm going to suggest it. I don't. I've only seen it a couple of times, but he talks about all the books that we should read that have been hidden from us throughout history. Uh, the channel's called The Grim, all in capital letters. THEGRIM. The Grim. He's got a list of all kinds of stuff like that as well. Things that's being kept from us. Be your own investigator. Make up your own mind. But think for yourself. That's all I ask. I love you all. Thank you very much, and have a great night.